Hello, you faces. Welcome back to the Your Mom's a Face channel on YouTube. I got a gun cleaning video for you today. Today we're going to be cleaning the Beretta CX4 Storm, chambered in 45 ACP. First and foremost, let's make sure this gun has no magazine. It is clear. We're all set to work on this. For cleaning this gun, here's what you're going to need. A bore rod with some type of bore brush. And this, you would think it's for the bore, but it's actually not. I'll show you in a minute. A bore light, that's always helpful. For this gun, I like to use the Otis little cleaning system they got here. Just the cable, not all their products. You could use a bore snake. You don't have to, but it's there if you need it. And I'm going to be using the Ballistol, like I always do, because I love Ballistol. And some Q-tips, of course. And a knife, actually. So let's just jump right into this. The gun is already clear. We checked it. Disassembly. Press this button right here. It's just a pin. Comes right out. Set that aside. The lower, you literally do not need to do anything to. It's not going to be that dirty. Just wipe down in here, and you'll need to throw a little bit of oil on some of these rails here. Wipe down this area. I'm not really going to mess with the lower today, just because it's so simple. The bolt, grab back here in the mainspring. I guess not the mainspring, but the recoil spring, and it'll stop. That's where your charging handle pulls straight out. To set that to the side. Bolt will come all the way out. First thing I do whenever I'm cleaning this, I just hose down the barrel on the inside and around the outside. I won't do the outside because this gun is clean, but just for the purpose of the video, we're going to be doing this. Let it fall down in there, get nice and juicy. And I just set that aside and let the Ballistol do its job. Ballistol, I love it. It's a slow cleaner and a lubricant all in the same. Bolt. The bolt comes, there's a little bracket that holds everything in place. Your recoil spring, ejector, and extractor, all held in place by this little bad boy. And it just pulls straight out. Set that aside. From here, you can take your recoil spring, ejector, extractor. Set those all aside. If this gun were 100% dirty, I would literally hose down the entire thing, inside and out. You can actually take out the firing pin in here. It takes about 3 seconds. I'm not going to do it in this video. I'll have another level 2 video of how to clean this gun later on, and you can see that. But it is actually 2 pins that hold it in. There's a pin right there, which you can see, and a pin up top, right in there, you can see. So I'm just going to spray down a little bit in like where it would slide on the rails, and otherwise I would just douse this entire thing, let it soak for a little bit. I would spray a little bit on the ejector, a little bit on the extractor. I had that backwards. Extractor, ejector. With your recoil spring, you really don't need to do much. Don't forget, you also need your trusty fiber cloth. I just wipe this down. Make sure it's nice and clean. I'll put a little dab of lubricant on it, and I'll show you kind of how an easy way to do that, because this is a really tough coil spring. See where I got my rag stuck in there. From there, I would let that soak. I would go back to my bolt. Just give it a nice wipe down. Get inside those rails where it slides. You can get in there with a Q-tip to get all the finer stuff. And this is just getting the bulk of like the dirt and grime. You can get your rag and kind of edge it into little slots where your ejector and extractor go, and kind of slide it all out. And these don't typically run wet. I like to have, you know, a decent amount of lubricant on them. And I'll show you how much I lube it whenever I get to it. I would take a Q-tip and just run them through there, just like any other gun. See how clean. I keep my guns nice and clean, kids. Right in here are some kind of tough to get areas. Down here where the firing pin is kind of a tough area. Get that real good with a Q-tip. Just make sure you don't leave any Q-tip residue behind. I've never had any problems using these. I usually clean out where your charging handle goes. There's 2 holes on each side. Just make sure those are nice and clean. And a trick. You will get quite a bit of debris in here. This is where it'll the barrel will go inside there. What I do to clean it, I would douse it with your ballistol. I'd put a patch over it, and here's where that your bore rod came in handy. And it just fits perfectly in there and cleans it all nice and out. And just take it down to the bottom. Well, sometimes it pulls right out. And I would keep that well lubricated because that doesn't really come in contact with the barrel. But I just like to have a little bit of lube in there just to keep it nice and fresh and ready. After that, wipe down your extractor. Sometimes you'll get some gunk in your extractor. That's normal. Just make sure you scrape it all out. With a fingernail gets that just fine. Wipe it all down. Same thing with the ejector. And the spring, just kind of get that nice, and maybe just a dab of lubricant will do you on that. You don't need to do too much with it. Same thing with this little bracket. It's it doesn't move, but it is a part that you want to keep lubricated on both sides because it'll slide on this side inside the gun. On the inside, you don't want it to seize up and be hard to pull out, so I keep it just a little bit lubed. At that point, your charging handle, you could just give that a wipe down. It really doesn't even need to be. You might put a little bit of lubricant on it so that it comes out really easy. Otherwise, you don't have to do much to it. And same with the pin that holds it together. I just give it a wipe down and might keep a little bit of lubricant on it just to keep it moving. Once again, I probably won't do it this time. I know I did it really good last time, so I won't worry about that. At this point, it's ready to be reassembled. What I do, there will be a little drip of cleaner on there, and I'll just kind of dab that in there. Doesn't need much. And maybe get a little bit on your fingers and just run it over your parts that are going to be going in there. Same with your ejector. Just kind of make sure they're, and I mean there's no really reason to do that other than just to keep them so they're not seized up if you're not going to be shooting the gun for a while. Your spring goes in there, then the just goes right over. Make sure, and I had gotten a little bit of lube on that, so that's good. A trick for, because the spring obviously is pretty stiff. While it's in there, just push it down, and I just get a little bit. Just a little dab will do you. Maybe run it once or twice. That's about it. Maybe run a little bit on the spring. Alright, your bolt is basically done. And just get a little bit on these guide rails right here. I mean, very minimal, not too much. Another thing I would do, just kind of get a little bit dab on there and just kind of smooth it on. Doesn't have to be super wet like an AR. ARs run wet, but you don't have to. Get a little bit down here where your bullet rides. Yeah, nothing, not rocket science. You don't have to overthink this. Make sure there's a little down in here, and that's where I would take my patch and get a little bit of lubricant down in there. That is good. The bolt is finished. Then I would go to the barrel. And the barrel, I mean, it is simple. I just drop my Otis thingamabobsker in there. And what I have on here, I just have a one of these little mops on there, and I just cut a little patch so it fits right over. Does the job just fine. Pull it through. And if it's really dirty in there, you can throw yourself a run a brush through there, a nylon brush or a brass brush. It's not going to hurt it. And I mean, this gun, it cleans up super easy. See in there. Oh, pretty. Like a mirror. I think you actually need it in there. Okay, that's enough of that. Anywho, alright, so another hard to get place that is going to collect a little bit of dirt and grime back in here. It'll collect a little bit. The real hard part, like you can stick your finger all the way in there and get a little bit of it, but the hardest part is underneath where that barrel sits. So what I do is kind of fold your towel around it, get it underneath, just kind of walk it in. Once it gets to a certain point, you really can't go any farther. That's where you would take like a part of a bore brush, and you can just kind of help it along and just push it all the way down in there. Down along the bottom. That's going to get it all nice and wiped out. I mean, you can't really get it 100% in there, but, you know, something is better than nothing. It'll come out nice and clean. Just make sure everything's wiped down in here. Throw a little bit of oil on your rails right here, just so it doesn't seize up. You don't need to worry about this too much, where your bolt would be sliding on, because you put enough on the bolt. Oops. Alright, and now your bolt is ready to go back in. And you'll go to a stopping point where this little circle is, and that is where your charging handle is going to sit. Throw it forward. On your lower receiver, just throw a little bit of lube where everything's going to ride together so it doesn't seize up. You might throw a little bit up here and just kind of wipe it down and smooth it around. Alright, and this gun is ready to go back together. Quick function check after you put your Alright, we're all set. This gun works. It is back to new. Just give it a wipe down any excess oil. The barrel I could have spent a little bit more time on, but for the timing of this video, and being that I'm probably not going to shoot it till next week, I'll keep a little ballistol in there to keep it nice and lubed, and next week I'll pull it out, kind of give it a wipe down, make sure it's nice and ready for the range, and take it out. That is the complete cleaning of your Beretta CX4 Storm. Stay tuned for another video, and I'll do one on kind of a level 2 where I'll take the bolt apart. Possibly do a cleaning video on the lower receiver. I have one where I've taken it apart, and I'll just show you some things you can do to clean all of that up, and little areas you need to lubricate it. And that is it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Rate, comment, and subscribe to this channel, because we're going to be doing a lot more stuff like this. We're just going to have a gay old time. Talk to you later. Bye.